Hey guys, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today we are going to do an editorial. I'm going to give you my unique perspective on the topic. The title, you know what it is. We're going to be talking about the casual crowd, the casual players versus competitive community and community players. So yeah, basically, if you want to, give an answer or maybe ask a question or just give your thoughts and opinions on this topic, the overall umbrella of casual players versus competitive players, if you just kind of want to rant, do it in the comments below, absolutely. But I'm going to start the dialogue here by giving you my thoughts and opinions, my unique perspective on what I think about the separation or the entities, I guess you could say, of casual players and competitive players, okay? So anyways, I just want to quickly say before we really begin here that this is a rant style podcast kind of thing, and the gameplay in the background is of Overwatch. Yeah, this is my gameplay, and this is Overwatch kind of inspired this video here. It spurred this on because Overwatch just started its Season 4 Ranked League, and Overwatch is actually a item on my top 10 casual competitive games that are very competitive, very popular for the competitive game modes, but also they are casual, as in it's very easy for new players to be introduced into the competitive scene, and generally their casual game modes are also like almost or perfectly identical to the competitive game modes, and Overwatch is the same here. And I was actually inspired by this because in the off season, a lot of competitive players, bunny ears, joined me whenever, we actually had this on stream. I was playing with you guys in quick play. Generally, I don't do too much quick play, but I have been lately because I've been playing with you guys. And, on stream, we'll be playing and everything, and we'll be kind of having fun. And I consider myself a competitive player, bunny ears. I'll do call-outs and everything, and sometimes we'll talk team composition. We'll be like, hey, maybe we could do this or that, but it's really more of a fun experimental thing. And somebody else would be on the team, and they will be freaking the fuck out, man. Or somebody on the enemy team will be like, oh my god, we have a Widowmaker, GG. And it's just like, dude, you're in quick play? Like, why are you trying so hard? But it's because it was off season, so, they couldn't really play ranked, and it was just all sorts of weird. But I do know, and I will say before I begin my unique perspective rant, that before anything, I will say that I know that there are certain people that think very competitively, okay? And then you have people that think very casually in terms of, general concept of what is competitive, what is casual. So a casual player, I guess, you just bare bones. A casual player has more weight on having fun and learning the game versus winning, where a competitive player is winning above all else. Even if you have to do something that is not fun, that is uncomfortable, that maybe you've done 1,000 times before, you're not really going to get a new experience from it. So that's really, I think, where a lot of people are going to define casual versus competitive. But I'm going to kind of broaden that a little bit with my perspective here in terms of, Overwatch as a game. And many games are just like Overwatch. They'll have a quick play, and then they'll have ranked. And then just the overall, the umbrella term, casual players versus competitive. So here we go, guys. I think that actually there is not a separation of players. Of course, these terms have double meanings all over the place, and it depends on the context and everything. So the context I'm using is just, a player who plays quick play a lot can eventually transition to competitive, or you can play competitively inside of quick play, and then a competitive player can play quick play, and then quick play players can find themselves being competitive. There's all sorts of double meanings and stuff, so it's gonna be really, really complicated. But basically what I'm gonna say is this, okay? I believe that as a new player, your goal, okay, when playing a game, because you are casual at the moment, is you haven't played that much. So you're mostly just learning the game, you're just experiencing the game, and yes, you are having just raw fun. You're just shapes and colors and booms and pows are all, being thumped into your chest and, drained into your eyeballs. You're just being force-fed content, basically. Now, after your first day, that might wear off, or maybe even your first hour. So the raw enjoyment of, the just stream of content of new things is going to end, and you're gonna have to actively start putting in a little bit of work into getting some enjoyment back. You're gonna have to actually kind of really learn some of the characters. You're gonna have to start memorizing some things. You're gonna have to, actually get mechanically good, start getting good at aiming, things like that, and maybe start communicating a little bit more with your teamwork. And you're still at that point where you're considered casual though, because you're still learning, right? So a lot of people consider casual players people who are learning the game. Competitive players are people who have mastered the game and then are very, very good at the game. and then are trying to fight other people to see whose mastery is better mastered. Yeah, sure. Anyways, I think that definition is actually wrong. If you go look at a lot of interviews with especially people with League of Legends, because it's very popular and there's a whole lot of pros on the scene, there's a whole lot of educational resources on League of Legends. So if you go League of Legends and you actually look at those interviews, you can see that there's this very humble sort of mentality with a lot of the pro players. This is probably actually any pro anything. Pro players are probably most aware of what they need to learn. Okay, I mean, obviously they're not bad at the game, but many people who are extremely high elo, high matchmaking rating, or actually professional gamers, very popular streamers who are very, notably good at the game, they'll often say that they're not good at the game. Maybe jokingly, but still, to an extent, they are actually very solemn in the fact that they understand that there is so much more to the game that they have yet to uncover. Because, like, being a good player, being a competitive player isn't just about mastery, it's kind of about discovery. It's still about discovery. It's still about learning things. Actually, like, going into the game, learning the physics of the game, how the code actually operates in terms of, from your fingertips all the way into the numbers, the ones and zeros. How does the game actually truly operate, and how can you manipulate that in your favor as a gamer? And if that sounds extreme, well, then just look at fighting games with animation canceling. Look at MOBAs with like all the cheese strategies and stuff like that. There's a whole lot to the game. Mind games, like I said, with actually exploitation of the physics and stuff like that. And then you just have your raw fundamentals, right? Well, I guess you could say a competitive player is somebody who has mastery of the raw fundamentals. That's actually not the case. So basically, competitive players are people who are good at the game, okay? And they compete with other people at their elo, essentially. Anybody can be a competitive player. The truth is, though, is that anybody really could be a competitive player, because, especially in games like Overwatch and League of Legends, because they have different rankings. I'm not even just talking about the matchmaking, either like bronze, silver, gold. I'm talking about there's like weekend tournaments. Yeah, you could do local LAN events. You can go play competitively. You can earn money that way. There's all sorts of events for Dota as well, dude. There's like daily tournaments, dude. Holy crap, daily little events you could go and join. Some of them are locked off to just like college students, some are just students, some are new players, some are locked off to non-professionals, and of course some are locked off to, yes, you must be a professional, you must be on this list, you're invited, invitationals. That is true as well. Sometimes you have to be in an official league. That's true, but that's a good thing. Separating all the different player bases, having different kinds of tournaments means that people of all shapes and sizes and colors, and people of different regions, ethnicities, all sorts of great things, but also people who consider themselves casual. Maybe they like playing other games just as much as Overwatch, so they don't have as much time to, pour into Overwatch, but still, they want that experience, a competitive experience, so even a bunny ears casual player can transition and be competitive. But also the inverse, guys. Oftentimes, and we already mentioned streamers and everything, right? Oftentimes, there are pro players who end up turning into streamers. So they stop playing in the pro circuits, or maybe they continue, but regardless, they are playing these games and they're professionals. They're playing to the highest degree against other players, and they're always trying new things, doing new things, and constantly mastering the game. And yet they, in order to truly master the game, and this isn't just streamers either, actually, just pure pro players will constantly create smurfs, they'll constantly go into the non-ranked game modes, and they will play against just random people doing random things, because that's how you discover new things. It's not always just about mastering fundamentals and just mastering the game, at face value. Sometimes you just need to throw a wrench in the cogs and just kind of see what explodes and see what happens, man. And so, yeah, a lot of pro players will do that. They'll just do random stuff, and you could say they're just having fun, but there's a learning experience there, and then that's really going to be my main point. A lot of people will define casual versus competitive as casuals are learning the game, competitive players have mastered the game, but everybody is constantly learning the game. So a casual player who is constantly learning the game and admits that there's always more to learn about the game can very easily become competitive. I've definitely had friends who just started playing Overwatch and they got ranked into Masters. Okay, the promotion thing was definitely broken back in the day, but still, they got to Diamond and then Masters, and then it was just easy. It was just super easy, and they did it. And they were playing with the best people, and you know what? They actually didn't drop elo. Maybe they shouldn't have ranked that high in the first place, but they didn't drop elo, and they were really good, and they ended up refining their skills, and just, from there, they played at a competitive elo. That's really cool. Casual players can, and you can play games casually, I think, and still be competitive. Like you could play Rocket League off and on, and then every once in a while, maybe just go hard for a week or two or a season, you know, because these games do play in seasons. Like you can do that. You can play casually for 99% of the time, but then maybe for one season you go hard. So when you're competitive and casual, I think it's not really like you're separate. Like your personality and everything is not like just casual versus competitive. I think it's just a mindset thing, and anybody can flip and flop and do whatever they want. A competitive player can play casually and just have fun. A casual player can eventually be competitive, and you can do back and forth all over the place for lots of different games. I think that really, that it's just that we're people, and we can choose to play casually, or we can choose to play competitively. And that's why these games, every competitive game has, you know, they actually have different rankings for the game modes. They have casual game mode, they have competitive game mode, because they realize some people sometimes want to play casually, sometimes they want to play competitively and be ranked on their performance. So there's that. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much my thoughts and opinions on that. Me personally, I played mostly Overwatch competitively, but I also, back in the day, I played Halo and Gears, and I play pretty much every MOBA. I play pretty much every MOBA at, you know, kind of competitive levels, high platinums or platinum to diamond. Some games are a little bit harder. I know League of Legends, I'm in gold because I actually played that more casually with friends and stuff like that. And I definitely know that there are people who simply don't ever want to be ranked. They don't ever want to be compared to other people. They just want to experience the game. So there is that subset of people, I understand that. And there are people who only play games if they have a competitive, you know, edge to them. Like there's people that just play fighting games, that just play MOBA, and that's cool too. So maybe in a way, if you guys want to talk about that, say, well, yeah, there are people that just play casual, there are people that just play competitive, but I just wanted to give you my unique viewpoint that anybody at any time can flip and flop and do whatever they want, and that truly competitive players will actually play casually to some extent so that they can experiment and learn. And casual players, since they are trying to get the most out of the game and learning and experiencing a true game, if it's a competitive game, then in some way, shape, or form, they're going to have to, you know, get a little sparkle in their eye. They're going to have to play a little bit to the extent of trying to win a game, trying to be competitive. Though I'm sure you guys will show me wrong. I'm sure there's some people that just play games to troll, so maybe there's a third faction. We'll just call them trolls. So anyways, that's it. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching, guys. My name's Skylent. See you guys later.